Have you ever wondered if the universe's grand story, or maybe even Jesus's mission, might be vastly richer, more complex than what we've typically been told?
Oh, absolutely. Imagine spiritual realities just stretching way beyond our usual understanding.
It's a really expansive thought, isn't it?
Mhm.
And our source material for today, the Urantia book, it dives headfirst into exactly that.
Yeah, it really does.
Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. This is where we take your chosen sources and try to unlock powerful, sometimes surprising insights.
And today, yeah, we're digging into some fascinating stuff from the Urantia book.
We'll be focusing specifically on its, let's say, unique perspectives on Jesus, this whole intricate web of divine beings, and even the architecture of the cosmos itself.
We're definitely going to uncover an often overlooked divine personality, the local universe mother spirit,
Right.
and maybe challenge some, deeply held conventional views about Jesus's crucifixion,
Uh-huh.
all while exploring this really sophisticated celestial hierarchy that supposedly governs our universe.
So get ready for some potentially eye-opening moments, things that could genuinely, maybe, reframe your understanding of spiritual reality.
Yeah, should be interesting.
All right, let's peel back the layers on this first big idea. So our deep dive today, it centers on the Urantia book.
Hmm.
And what immediately jumps out, based on the sources, is its pretty incredible claim about authorship.
Yeah, that's foundational, isn't it?
It's presented as a celestial revelation, written not by humans, but by higher beings they mention midwayers,
Right, those unique sort of evolved human-like beings,
and various other celestial personalities.
which really sets it apart from, the more familiar spiritual texts we might think of.
Definitely.
The sources we looked at emphasize that texts like the Bible, while obviously profoundly important, were penned by human authors.
Right, with all that entails.
Exactly. And with that comes, inherent cultural biases, limitations, and understanding, particularly, as the sources highlight, regarding the role of women in spiritual matters.
That's a pretty bold claim, suggesting human scripture is limited. How does the Urantia book itself handle the idea that, well, even a celestial revelation needs some human filter to be understood?
That's a really good point. And the book itself does acknowledge the challenges, translating cosmic truth into human language.
Okay.
But it basically asserts its celestial origin, allows it to bypass many of those human limitations, to reveal truths that were either maybe left out or just misunderstood by earlier human-penned scripture.
So like a more direct line.
Kind of a direct, maybe unfiltered glimpse into a larger spiritual reality. And that brings us right to a key figure in this whole cosmic picture, the local universe of Mother Spirit.
Yeah, and speaking of figures potentially overlooked or misunderstood,
Mhm.
it's pretty striking how absent she is in traditional biblical texts.
It really is.
And the sources directly link this back to what you just said, the Bible's human authorship and those potential cultural biases, especially around the feminine and spiritual context.
Precisely. But in the Urantia book, her role is described as absolutely fundamental, foundational even.
Okay.
She's described as a creative daughter of the infinite spirit, and she's indispensable to creator son Michael.
Who is Jesus in his creator role?
Exactly. Indispensable to him in co-creating and governing a local universe. Think of them as like true, inseparable partners in this massive cosmic endeavor.
So the sources say she manages all physical, spiritual, and material circuits. That sounds incredibly vast. Does that mean she's literally involved in like the nitty-gritty of gravity, or is it more macro level?
Well, it seems to be both in a way. The sources describe it as this incredibly active, granular role, really sustaining everything. So yeah, this includes gravity and energy flow, absolutely. But also those 7 mind circuits that even we as human beings are connected to.
7 mind circuits.
Okay. It's presented as this omnipresent nurturing force that's just profoundly active at every single level of the local universe.
So she's kind of like the ultimate cosmic supermom, almost, weaving together the very fabric of existence.
Yeah.
This is quite a job description.
It really is. And it just highlights, potentially how much might have been overlooked in our traditional spiritual narratives.
Yeah.
The analogy they provide is actually quite helpful. She functions as the mother spirit for that specific universe,
Wow.
much like the infinite spirit acts as a kind of mother figure within the Paradise Trinity.
Gotcha.
She's also described as a 6th order supreme spirit. In the celestial hierarchy, that puts her way up there among the highest, most powerful divine beings, essentially a primary creative force in her own right.
So definitely not a minor player.
Oh, absolutely not. She is central to everything that exists and holds together within her domain, according to this book.
Okay, so with this expanded view of, like, divine partnership and these massive creative forces, it really makes you rethink other traditional ideas, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
And that leads us right into maybe the most provocative reinterpretation in the Urantia book, Jesus' mission and, well, the whole purpose of his crucifixion.
Yeah, this is a big one.
The sources here directly challenge a cornerstone of traditional Christian doctrine, the idea that Jesus died as a sacrifice for sin.
Right. Here's the mind shift, I guess. The Urantia book flat out states that God simply forgives sin without needing any blood sacrifice.
Wow. No sacrifice needed.
Yeah, and this whole idea of requiring atonement through blood is, from this perspective, considered, well, incorrect, even termed an affront to God. It's a pretty radical departure from many traditional views.
Wow. Okay. The idea that Jesus' crucifixion wasn't for atonement, that's going to be a seismic shift for a lot of people listening.
Sure.
So if it wasn't for atonement, what are the sources telling us was the real profound purpose behind it? What's the aha moment here?
Okay, so here's the profound insight, according to the book. His crucifixion wasn't about paying some kind of cosmic debt for sin. Instead, it was a deliberate act, a profound commitment, really, part of his bestowal process.
That's the term they use, bestowal.
Yeah, where creator's sons fully immerse themselves in the mortal experience of their creations. They live and die as one of them.
Okay, so living a normal human life back then.
Exactly. He experienced suffering and death, which, let's face it, was a common reality for humans of that era. But the true significance, the book argues, is that his death served as this profound demonstration of divine love and maybe sacrifice in a broader sense for all beings across millions of worlds. Not just for humanity's specific sins. It's more about gaining experiential wisdom, living life fully, even the hard parts, so he could relate universally.
Okay. So the core message isn't paying a debt for sin, but demonstrating unconditional divine love and fully participating in mortal life across the whole cosmos.
That's the gist of it.
This sounds like, well, it sounds like a call to a much deeper, maybe more mature spiritual understanding.
Precisely. And the Urantia book actually introduces this concept they call spiritual adulthood.
Spiritual adulthood.
Yeah. It's framed as this powerful call to move beyond maybe simplistic notions of sin and sacrifice towards a more profound, expansive understanding of divine love and these bigger cosmic realities. The text even suggests Jesus himself commissioned the Urantia book partly to clarify these very points, implying humanity was, in a way, maybe acting like spiritual adolescence in its understanding.
Interesting framing.
It's really about growing into a more complete spiritual comprehension, you know?
Yeah, I get that. And this idea of spiritual growing up, it feels particularly relevant when we look at how these divine beings themselves evolve, right?
Definitely.
Let's talk about that incredible journey of the divine minister from being this, like, unpersonalized force to a fully realized cosmic personality.
Right, it's fascinating.
The Urantia book explains that initially she exists as this non-personalized aspect of the infinite spirit, actively helping the creator son organize the physical universe.
Yeah, exactly. Initially, she's more like this potent, non-individualized divine energy, you could say, organizing the foundational structures, star clusters, energy circuits, that sort of thing. Right. But then once that preliminary physical setup is complete, there's this truly tremendous spiritual event they call the primary eruption.
A primary eruption. Sounds dramatic, like a cosmic event.
Totally. And what's the significance of this eruption? It's not just a flash, right? It's the precise moment the divine minister fully personalizes. She transforms from that non-personal divine force into a unique, conscious, individual spirit being.
And why is that so important, her becoming personal?
It's pivotal because this personalization is what enables her to then administer what the book calls personality circuits.
Personality circuits.
Yeah, the very capacity for self-awareness and identity to every single created being in her universe, from the highest angels right down to us humans.
So she kind of switches on personality for everyone.
In a manner of speaking, yeah. She inherits immense cosmic power and then works in full conscious partnership with the creator son. They hold ultimate spiritual authority together in that local universe.
It's like the universe gaining its spiritual nervous system almost.
That's a great way to put it. And yeah, she's also connected to these things called the Supreme Spirit groups. She's part of the sixth group, which denotes her high status.
Okay, speaking of cosmic governance and status, the Urantia Book also introduces us to this fascinating concept of Trinity ambassadors.
Mm-hmm.
And our sources put a special focus on one figure, Emmanuel of Salvington, also known as the Union of Days.
All right, Emmanuel. What's truly fascinating here, according to the text, is his unique role. He is the personal representative of the Paradise Trinity.
So the Father, Son, and Infinite Spirit, the
Yep.
top level.
Exactly. Their personal rep in the actual court of Michael, our creator's son, Jesus, right there in the local universe capital.
So he's like the highest level cosmic diplomat imaginable,
Really?
bridging paradise with our local universe.
In a way, yes, but the sources suggest it's even more profound. Get this. The texts explain he is Michael's elder brother.
El brother, seriously.
Yeah, created just before him. And uniquely, he has apparently never acknowledged subordination to Michael.
Wow.
They even share the same unique creation number in the cosmos, 611,121, which indicates this very special, very close, yet distinct relationship.
That's a powerful connection. So what are his main functions then within this whole cosmic administration setup? How does he contribute?
Well, he acts as this indispensable advisor to the sovereign son, Michael.
Okay.
He presides over councils when Michael's absent, and he even takes charge during Michael's bestowals, like when he was here on Earth as Jesus.
So he was overseeing things from the capital while Jesus was here.
That's the implication. It vividly reinforces this idea of a really sophisticated cooperative governance system operating throughout creation, far beyond what our usual earthbound perspectives might typically imagine.
It really paints a picture of intricate cooperation, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's try and pull some threads together. We've explored some truly profound ideas today.
Definitely deep stuff.
Yeah, this indispensable partnership between creator sons and divine ministers, this whole reconceptualization of Jesus' mission away from simple atonement, and this intricate, cooperative, cosmic administration with figures like Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm. And if you connect those threads, the Urantia Book's purpose, at least as these sources present it, becomes, well, incredibly clear, doesn't it?
How so?
It seems designed to correct what it sees as theological misconceptions, to provide a more mature, expansive understanding of spiritual realities. It's really like a call to elevate our spiritual consciousness.
A call to spiritual adulthood, as you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. This deep dive really encourages you, the listener, to perhaps consider becoming a spiritual adult, embracing these more expansive cosmic truths.
So the question for you listening is, what does it mean for you personally to consider that the story of Jesus and maybe the entire universe might be vastly more complex, more loving, and more intricately organized than you ever imagined?
Yeah, and maybe consider this final thought. If divine forgiveness truly requires no sacrifice,
Right.
and if Jesus' life was primarily about demonstrating divine love and gaining experiential wisdom across the whole cosmos, how might that fundamentally transform your understanding of your own spiritual journey?
And maybe